Welcome back, everybody, to another lesson. I hope you're all doing great. I hope you're all in great health. We've come now to part 2 of multiplication. This is multiplying using arrays. We're going to start off by looking at what that word array means. Arrays are whenever you take a bunch of objects and you organize them in rows and columns. We have a bunch of Dorito bags and they're all in a mess right now. There's no pattern to them. They're all kind of in disarray. But what if I take them and I organize them into rows? Let's put a row here and let's make a row of 5. And then right below this row of 5, let's make another row of 5. Like that. Let's put another, actually let's make a row of 6, make it work evenly. Now look, I had a situation where I had 2 left over. If I put them like right here, that doesn't work in my favor because look, I have a row of 5, and then a row of 2. In multiplication, your rows and columns have to have the same number of bags. So look, if I have 5 here and 5 here, I need to have 5 in the third row, but I don't have enough. So I'm going to take this one, put it here, and then put this one here. Now, if you look at this, I have an array. I have a case now where I have 6 bags in the first row, like this. I have 6 here, and I have 6 bags in the second row. Now, if you remember from part 1 of multiplication, we count all together. We have 6 plus 6, or we could say we have how many groups? We have a group here. Remember, groups are things that you could put stuff in. I made a circle here, so that's a group. I have 2 groups, so I have 2 groups, 6 in each one. That makes 12. And in this one here, it also makes 12. Here's my repeated addition statement. And here's my multiplication statement or equation. Now, I could have also done this. I could have went up and down into columns. So whenever you go up and down, we call those columns. When you go side to side, we call them rows. So what if I made a column here? I have a column of 2. Now look, that's a group of 2. Here's another group of 2. Here's another group of 2, another group of 2, another group of 2. Now, and the last one here. I have more groups here, but let's compare the answers in both situations. How many groups do I have here? I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 groups. 6 groups. And I have 2 bags in each group. What does that make? It makes, well, count them. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. The answer doesn't change, ladies and gentlemen. But the equation looks a little bit different. Now look here, I have 2 times 6, and here I have 6 times 2. If you think back to part 1 of multiplication, remember that one question where we flipped the numbers around and then we compared the answers and they never changed? Well, this is exactly what's going on in this question. The answers aren't changing even though the numbers are in different positions. What would my repeated addition statement be for this second one here? Well, let's take a look. I have 2 in the first group, so I write 2. I have 2 in the second group, so I go plus 2 more here, plus 2 more in the fourth, 2 more in the fifth, and 2 more in the sixth. I have 6 groups, which means I need 6 2's, and if you add those up, you still get 12. Here, this question asks us, now let's read it carefully. It says, write 2 multiplication equations, just like what we did in the last question, and 2 repeated addition equations for the arrays above. Well, for the array, it's one array. Let's analyze this a little further. We need 2 multiplication equations. So let's split the page up like this. All right, let's do, I don't know, you want to do rows or columns first? Doesn't really matter. Let's do rows first. So we have a row over here. And we have another row here. How many rows do we have? We have 2 groups. 2 rows or 2 groups. We have 5 in each one, so that's 2 times 5. And that makes, count them all, we have 5 and 5, that's 10. 10's the answer. What about the repeated addition for this? It would be, let's see here, we have 5 plus 5 more. 2 5's. See that? 2 5's. 2 5's. And the answer is still 10. How about for, let's see here, it says 2 multiplication equations. We have only 1 multiplication equation and 1 repeated addition. Let's do the second part. Let's go Up and down. Let's change purple. Let's go up and down. These are columns. I have one column, two columns, three columns, four columns, five columns. So I'm going to write five columns or five groups. And I have two buttons in each one. And if I count them all, I get 10. So now I have one multiplication equation, two multiplication equations. I have one repeated addition equation, and I have, well, I need one more. So let's see what we can do here. We have 2 here. Let's see, 5 twos. See, 5 twos. So I'm going to write, here's 2 twos, 3 twos, 4 twos, and 5 twos. Let's see if it matches the picture. This 2 goes here. This 2 goes here, this 2 for these two, this 2's for these two, and this 2 is for these two. They match up perfectly. I don't have too many or too little, and the answer is still 10. So you see here I have 4 different equations. They all add up to 10, and they should add up to 10, otherwise you've done something wrong. Same type of question, boys and girls. Let's read it carefully. Write 2 multiplication equations and 2, I'm going to circle 2 repeated addition equations for this illustration. Let's split the page in half again. Let's take a look at this here. We can start either rows and columns. I like to start in rows, so I'm going to do it again here. We're going to have a row of 4, a second row of 4, 3 rows, 4 rows. So I have 4 groups of 4 rows of 4 in each one. Look at that. They're both 4s. What's my answer? Let's skip count. We have 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4. That's 16. What's my repeated addition going to be? Well, it's going to be just like what I just said. 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4. How many 4s do we have? Let's see. We have 1, 2, 3, 4s. 4 4s. And this says 4 4s. So we have 16 altogether. Now it says we need 2 multiplication equations. I have one over here. I need a second one. So let's, instead of rows, let's do columns. So I have a column over here. I have a column here, a column here, and a column here. 4 columns. So 4 groups. I have 4 in each one, 4 in each column. So I get, oh, look at that, 4 times 4 again, and we just figured that makes 16. And my repeated addition is going to be, well, let's see, I have 4 in this one, 4 in the second column, 4 in the third column, and 4 in the fourth column, and add them up, you still get 16. Look at that. All right, let's do these 4, and then I'll let you practice your own. Draw 2 arrays. We need 2 arrays for the following equations. So 3 times 2 equals what? The important part is getting the array done. I'm going to show you how to draw arrays properly. 3 groups. I'm going to draw 3 rows. I'm going to make a row here. I'm going to make a row here and a row here. There, I've made my rows. They're empty right now, but I'm going to put stuff in them. I'm going to put 2 things inside of each one. So let's do, let's change colors here. Let's go purple. I'm going to put 2 in this one. Now here's the important part. The 2 that I put here, they have to line up. They have to be on top of each other. Don't go and do this and mess it all up, because that's not an array anymore. Just like with the example with the bags of chips, they have to line up on top of each other. So let me erase these 2. Right, so we got this now. How many do we have? Now look, I have 6 altogether. But I want 2 arrays. I just made 1 right now. So look, instead of making 3 rows, I can make 3 columns. So let's do that. Let's make 1 column here. Let's make another column here and another column here. 3 columns, and I'm going to put, again, 2 in each one. So let's switch colors. Let's go 1, 2. Again, line them up in the next one. 2 here and 2 here. Let's build another array. Let's go like this. 4 groups. Now look, 4 with arrays, we're dealing with rows and columns. So you have a choice here. Let's start with rows again. Let's make 4 rows. 1, 2, 3, 4 rows. And I'm going to have to put 3 inside of each one. So let's go 3 in this one, 3 in this one. Make sure they're lined up, boys and girls, on top of each other. Don't mess this up, otherwise it's not an array anymore. and 3 and this one. There, I'm done this array. Let's make our second array now. So instead of I'm done rows, let's make columns. Let's go 4 columns, 1, 2, draw them about the same as each other. Don't make, all weird and stuff. Let's go 4 columns, and we need again 3 in each one. So I'm going to put 3 here, 3 here, 3 let's fix it up, and 3 and that one. So there I have 2 different arrays. My answer in each one is going to still be 12. I have 12 dots in each one altogether. Remember these ones here where the answer's on the left side? What did we say? We said scribble that out, scribble that equal sign, and move it to the other side. That's how we like to look at problems. And here's another one. Let's scribble that out, scribble, 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 and put it on the other side. So we have 2 times 5, and with arrays we just learned that it's rows and columns. So rows, columns. So let's start again. Rows. Let's make our rows. We need 2 rows because that's what it says. 2 rows. 1, 2, and I'm going to have to put 5 in each one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and line these dots up, boys and girls, very carefully. 4, 5, each one's on top of the other, and there you have the first array. Let's make our second one. So instead of 2 rows, we're going to make 2 columns. 1, 2. I didn't like that one. Let's make it a little better, like the first one. And I'm going to have to put 5 in each one. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 5 in this one. Line them up side by side. There you have it. And I get 10 altogether. In this next question, we have 4 times 2. Again, the multiplication symbol means rows. I'm going to put R, or columns. So I need 4 rows first. Let's make our 4 rows. 1, 2, 3. Here, let's make them a little smaller. Let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm gonna have to put 2 inside of each one. So 1, 2, 1, 2. 1, 2, 1, and 2. Done. And the last part here, we need 4 columns. So let's build this here together. Let's go 4 columns. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we'll put 2 in each one. 2 in this one, 2 in that one, and 2 in this one. Again, they're lined up nicely. It's not all weird looking. And how many dots do I have? I have 8. Alright everybody, it's your turn now. Read this question carefully, check it out, underline key bits of information, and we'll be back in a minute to check our answers. Alright everybody, we're back. It says write 2 multiplication equations and 2 repeated addition equations for this array of cupcakes. So here's what you should have done. I'm going to split the page in half because it says we need 2 of each. And taking a look at this, you could have started with rows and went 1 row, 2 rows, 3 rows. So you would have went 3 times. And since there's 4 in each one, you would have said 3 times 4 and count them, you get 12. That's the first one. Let's write our first repeated addition now. Look, we have 4 here, 4 and 4. So we're going to write 4 plus 4 plus 4, and that's going to make 12. So we're done the first 2 here. Give yourself a mark if you wrote 3 times 4 is 12 and 4 is 12. The second part of the equation says, well, look, instead of rows we could do columns. So we have 1 column, 2 columns, 3 columns, 4 columns. So we're going to write 4 columns 4 times, and we have 3 in each one, so it's 4 times 3. And again, it makes 12. The number doesn't really change. We still have 12 cupcakes. Doesn't matter if you're going columns up and down or rows side to side. The number of cupcakes is going to be 12. So give yourself a mark if you wrote 4 times 3 is 12. And the repeated addition for this here is going to be, we have 3 in the first column, 3 here, 3 here, and 3 here. So you would have wrote 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3. And these two equations have to go together. and the answer is 12. Give yourself a mark for that. Here's another equation. Read it carefully. Pause the video and we'll be back in a minute. Ready? Go. Alright everybody, we're back. Same type of question. Write 2 multiplication equations and 2 repeated addition equations for the array above. So let's start with rows here. Let's have 1 row, 2 rows, 3 rows. So I'm split the page in half. We're going to have 3 rows. That's 3 groups. And we have 5 in each one. So it's going to be 3 times 5. And count them, you get 15. What's the repeated addition going to be? Let's check it out. We have 5 in the first row, 5 in the second, 5 in the third. That's 5 plus 5 plus 5. You should have had 3 5s together for this part, and that makes 15, of course. Now for the second part, we could have went in columns. So we could have went 1 column, 2 columns, 3 columns, 4 columns, 5 columns. That's 5 times. And how many are in each one? We got 3. So we got same answer is 15. Give yourself a mark for 5 times 3. And the repeated addition for 5 times 3 would have been 3 here, plus another 3 here, plus another 3, plus another 3, plus another 3. And that's also 15. And for the last question, for multiplying using arrays, it asks us to draw 2 arrays. Well, actually, I'm not even going to read it to you. I'm going to let you do this on your own. Do it on your own. Pause the video, and we'll be back in a minute. All right, everybody, we're back. So it says draw 2 arrays for each of the following multiplication equations. Now, look, it doesn't ask us to say any repeated addition. It just tells us to draw 2 arrays for each of the following equations. So here's 2 times 3. Remember, times means rows or columns when we're dealing with arrays. So doing this here, we have 2 times 3 means we have, let's start with rows first. We need 2 rows. So here's row 1 and here's row number 2. And we're going to need to put 3 inside of each row. So we're going to put 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Line them up carefully, and that's our first array. Our second array, instead of rows, we're done rows, let's do columns. So 2 columns. Let's go 1 column. We got 2 columns. Got Tamara crying too. We have 2 columns here. We're going to put 3 in each one. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Just like that. Give yourself 2 marks for these arrays if you did them. Give yourself a mark for the answer, 6. Second question. So again, we have 4 times. So again, we're going to deal with rows or columns. Let's start with rows first. Let's pick rows. So we're going to need 4 rows. So let's go 1, 2, 3, and 4. We're going to put 2 inside of each one. Let's go 1, 2. 1, 2. Line them up very well. That's pretty good. And we're done the first part. Now let's look at columns. We're done rows. Let's make 4 columns. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're still going to put 2 inside of each one. That doesn't change. So we're going to go 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and that's my second array. Give yourself a mark for here, give yourself a mark for this, and give yourself a mark for the answer, which is, what am I doing here? It's 8. And these last 2, look, we don't like answers on the left side. So I'm going to scribble this out. I'm going to scribble this out. I'm going to put the equals here. I'm going to put the line like that. And you're allowed to do that on a test. The point is, can you recognize it and then, apply this? So let's do this part. We have 3 times 3 equals blank, and we have this. I'm going to put RC, rows or columns, and let's do this. Let's pick rows again first. We're going to make 3 rows. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to need to put 3 in each one. So I'm going to 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. and 1, 2, 3. Now I know I've been putting dots in all of these rows and columns. You can put anything. You can put basketballs. You can put bags of chips. Whatever you want, as long as you, or buttons like what we saw, as long as you take these objects and you organize them in rows and columns, you've got yourself an array. Now that we're done part 1, let's look at part 2. We're done rows. Let's do columns. 3 columns looks like this. 1, 2, 3. And 3 inside of each one would look like this. We have 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And give yourself a mark here, and a mark for the answer is 9. And the last question, boys and girls, let's do this. 5 times 3, we have RC. That's what times means. It's groups of rows or groups of columns. We have 5 of them. So let's see what we could do with this. We have 5 rows. So let's make row 1, row 2, row 3, row 4. That's a lot of rows. 5 rows. We're going to do rows first. We're going to put 3 inside of each one. So let's go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. That's done. Let's do the second part. Let's pick columns. So 5 columns looks like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Let's put, how many do we put inside of each one? We got to put 3. Still, that doesn't change. So we have 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. I messed it up. Okay, ignore that. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And our answer is 15. Give yourself a mark here, give yourself a mark here, and give yourself a mark there. There you have it, boys and girls. You've completed both parts of multiplication. That's all there is to it. That's or the introduction to multiplication, at least, which is what we focus on in grade 3. I'm glad you've made it this far. Congratulations. Keep working hard, and I'll see you in the next lesson.